I, 48 farads, need advice on how to deal with my sister, 50 farads, who has always been jealous of me and recently ruined my relationship. This is a long and complicated story, so please bear with me. I've been struggling with my family relationships, particularly with my older sister, for as long as I can remember. Growing up in a small town in the Midwest, our dynamics were always complicated, but recent events have pushed things to a breaking point. I'm hoping the Reddit community can offer some perspective or advice on how to handle this situation. To give you a full picture, I need to start from the beginning. My sister and I were born 2 years apart in a middle-class family. Our parents both worked hard, dad as a high school teacher and mom as a nurse. They always emphasized the importance of education and hard work, but they also tried to encourage us to pursue our own interests. From early childhood, the differences between my sister and me were apparent. She was always the pretty one, with blonde hair, blue eyes, and a natural charm that drew people to her. I, on the other hand, took after our dad with brown hair and glasses. While she was outgoing and popular, I was more of the quiet, studious type. I remember vividly a moment from when I was about 8 years old. We were at a family reunion, and one of our aunts was gushing over how beautiful my sister looked in her new dress. The aunt then turned to me and said, "And you must be so proud of your sister. She's so pretty." My sister smirked and added, "Yeah, but sister's got the brains, so I guess we're even." Everyone laughed, thinking it was just a cute sisterly joke, but I felt a deep pang of hurt and embarrassment. As we grew older, the divide between us only seemed to widen. In high school, my sister was the cheerleader, always surrounded by friends and admirers. I was in the debate club and focused on my studies. Our parents tried to treat us equally, but it was clear that relatives and people around us tended to favor my sister because of her looks and charm. My sister would often make snide comments about my appearance or social skills. For instance, when I won a scholarship to a prestigious university, she said something like, "Well, at least you have your brains, since you don't have the looks. But don't get too excited. College boys don't date girls who look like librarians." These constant jabs at my self-esteem have been a recurring theme throughout our lives. Despite her discouragement, I thrived in college. I majored in computer science and discovered my passion for technology and problem solving. For the first time, I felt truly valued for my intelligence and skills, not compared to my sister's beauty. I made good friends who appreciated me for who I was, and I even dated a bit, though nothing serious came of it. After graduation, I landed jobs at a tech company in Chicago. It was a big move for me, leaving our small town and striking out on my own. My sister, meanwhile, had married her high school sweetheart and settled in our hometown. I thought that the distance might improve our relationship, but if anything, it seemed to make her more resentful. I've always tried to brush off her comments and focus on my career. I work in IT project management now, and I've managed to climb the corporate ladder despite my sister's predictions that I'd never succeed because men don't like women smarter than them. However, her words have always stung, and I've struggled with self-confidence issues as a result. Over the years, I've had a few relationships, but nothing that lasted. My sister would always find a way to undermine my confidence or interfere. Once, when I brought a boyfriend home for Thanksgiving, she spent the entire weekend flirting with him and making comments about how he was too good-looking for me. The relationship didn't last long after that. Things came to a head recently when I started dating a colleague, 46M, from another department at work. We met at a company-wide conference and hit it off immediately. He was intelligent, kind, and seemed genuinely interested in my thoughts and ideas. We started having lunch together regularly, and soon those lunches turned into dinners and weekend outings. My new boyfriend was different from anyone I dated before. He was divorced with no kids, established in his career, and shared my love for technology and problem solving. For the first time in years, I felt genuinely happy and confident. He appreciated my intelligence and my dry sense of humor. With him, I didn't feel like I was constantly being measured against some impossible standard of beauty or social grace. After we'd been dating for about 6 months, I decided it was time for him to meet my family. I was nervous about it, given my past experiences, but I hoped that at 48, my sister would have outgrown her jealous behavior. I invited my parents and sister over for a dinner party at my apartment. I spent days preparing, cleaning, and cooking, wanting everything to be perfect. When the evening arrived, my parents were warm and welcoming to my boyfriend, asking him questions about his work and his interests. My sister, however, was a different story. From the moment she walked in, I noticed her demeanor change. She was wearing a dress that was a bit too tight and low-cut for a family dinner, and she had clearly spent extra time on her hair and makeup. She started flirting with my boyfriend immediately, laughing too loudly at his jokes, and finding excuses to touch his arm or shoulder. Throughout the dinner, she kept steering the conversation towards herself, talking about her volunteer work at the local animal shelter and how she was thinking of starting her own business. Every time I tried to speak, she would interrupt or talk over me. I could see my boyfriend becoming uncomfortable, but he was too polite to say anything. At one point, when I was in the kitchen getting dessert, I overheard my sister telling my boyfriend, "You know, it's so nice to see my sister finally dating someone." I was worried she'd be alone forever. It must be hard for her, always being the plain one. I felt my cheeks burn with humiliation, but I plastered on a smile and brought out the dessert as if I hadn't heard anything. Over the next few weeks, I noticed my boyfriend becoming more distant. He would cancel our plans last minute or seem distracted when we were together. When I asked if everything was okay, he would assure me that he was just busy with work, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Then, last week, my boyfriend asked if we could talk. He came over to my apartment, and I could tell by his serious expression that something was wrong. He sat me down and told me he wanted to end our relationship. When I asked him why, he hesitated before finally admitting that my sister had been talking to him behind my back. Apparently, she had gotten his number from my phone when I wasn't looking at the dinner party. She had been texting and calling him regularly, feeding him lies about me. She told him that I had a history of cheating on my partners, that I was only using him to advance my career, and that I had serious emotional issues that I kept hidden from everyone. My now ex-boyfriend said that at first, he didn't believe her, but she was persistent. She even sent him old photos of me with male friends, implying that they were ex-boyfriends I had cheated with. She told him stories about my past relationships, twisting the truth to make me look like the villain in every scenario. I was devastated. Not only had I lost someone I cared about, but my own sister had deliberately sabotaged my happiness. When I confronted her about it, she didn't even deny it. She just shrugged and said, "Come on, you didn't really think it would last, did you? I was just speeding up the inevitable. Men like him don't end up with women like you." Her casual cruelty left me reeling. I've spent the last week alternating between crying and feeling numb. I can't understand how my own sister could betray me like this. It's not just about losing my boyfriend. It's about realizing that my sister has been actively working against my happiness for years. I'm at a loss for what to do next. Part of me wants to cut her out of my life entirely, but we work for the same company, different departments, and our parents are getting older. I know cutting ties with her would make family gatherings incredibly awkward and potentially hurt our parents. Another part of me wants to confront her and demand an explanation or apology, but given her past behavior, I'm not sure if that would accomplish anything. She's never shown remorse for her actions before, and I'm afraid she'd just use it as another opportunity to belittle me. I've considered talking to our parents about the situation, but I'm worried they might try to downplay it or tell me to just forgive her for the sake of family harmony. They've always been conflict-averse and tend to brush serious issues under the rug. When we were younger and I would complain about my sister's behavior, they would often say things like, "That's just how sisters are," or "She doesn't mean it. She loves you really." My friends have suggested everything from therapy, for me or for both of us, to publicly exposing her behavior on social media. I'm not comfortable with the latter, as I don't want to stoop to her level or create a public spectacle. As for therapy, I'm considering it for myself, but I doubt my sister would agree to go. She's always maintained that she doesn't have any issues and that I'm the one who's too sensitive. I feel stuck between wanting justice and wanting peace. I'm tired of being the bigger person and always having to forgive her transgressions. At the same time, I'm scared of causing a permanent rift in the family. Our parents are in their 70s now, and I don't want their final years to be marred by family drama. To complicate matters further, I recently heard through the grapevine that my sister has started dating a wealthy divorced man. Apparently, she's been pressuring him to propose, talking about how she wants to start a family soon because her biological clock is ticking. This seems out of character for her, as she's never expressed a strong desire for children before. I can't help but wonder if she's more interested in his money than in starting a family. However, I've also heard rumors that she's been having an affair with her massage therapist. A friend of mine saw them together at a restaurant in a nearby town, acting very intimate. Part of me wants to warn her new boyfriend about her true nature, but another part feels like that would be crossing a line. I'm torn between my desire for revenge and my fear of becoming just like her. I don't want to be the kind of person who deliberately hurts others, even if they've hurt me. But I'm also tired of always being the victim in this relationship. The whole situation has me questioning everything. Am I really as bad as my sister makes me out to be? Have I been blind to my own faults all these years? Or is this just another result of her manipulation, making me doubt myself even now? I've always prided myself on my integrity and hard work, but now I find myself contemplating actions that go against everything I believe in. The thought of exposing my sister or sabotaging her relationship gives me a twisted sense of satisfaction, but it also makes me feel guilty and small. So, Reddit, I turn to you for advice. How do I handle this situation with my sister? Should I confront her, cut her out, try to mend fences, or should I take the nuclear option and expose her behavior to her new boyfriend? I'm lost and could really use some outside perspective. I know family relationships are complicated, and there's probably no perfect solution here. But I'm hoping some of you might have experience with similar situations or insights that could help me navigate this mess. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for reading this far. Just writing it all out has been somewhat cathartic, but I'm still at a loss for what to do next. I feel like I'm at a crossroads, and whatever I decide will shape the future of my family relationships forever. I don't want to live with regret, but I also don't want to let my sister continue to control and manipulate my life. Any thoughts or advice would be welcome. Update 1. It's been 2 weeks since my last post, and I want to thank everyone for their advice and support. After much consideration, I've decided to take action regarding my sister's behavior. This update will cover what's happened since then and my plans moving forward. First, I've started seeing a therapist who specializes in family dynamics. It's only been a couple of sessions, but it's already helping me process my feelings and gain perspective on the situation with my sister. After days of internal struggle, I've made the difficult decision to gather evidence of my sister's infidelity and inform her new boyfriend about her true nature. I know this is a controversial choice, and believe me, I've agonized over it. But I feel it's necessary to break this cycle of manipulation and deceit. My decision wasn't made lightly. I spent countless nights weighing the moral implications of my actions. The turning point came when I realized that by staying silent, I might be indirectly enabling her to hurt more people. I've started discreetly gathering information about my sister's relationship with her new boyfriend. Through mutual friends and some social media sleuthing, I've learned that he's a successful businessman, 52M, who recently went through a messy divorce. Apparently, he's been lavishing my sister with expensive gifts and taking her on luxurious vacations. What's most concerning is how quickly their relationship seems to be progressing. My sister has been dropping hints about marriage and starting a family, which is completely out of character for her. She's never shown interest in having children before, and I can't help but suspect her motives are more financial than maternal. As for the alleged affair with her massage therapist, I've managed to confirm that it's not just a rumor. A close friend of mine spotted them together at a hotel bar in a nearby city, behaving very intimately. I'm still grappling with how to approach him with this information. I don't have his contact details, and I'm wary of creating a fake social media account to reach out to him. I'm considering writing an anonymous letter, but I'm concerned it might not be credible. My parents remain unaware of my plans. I've tried to broach the subject of my sister's behavior with them, but as expected, they're reluctant to acknowledge the problem. When I mentioned the issues with my ex-boyfriend, my mom just sighed and said, "You know how your sister can be sometimes." I'm sure she didn't mean any harm. My friends are divided on my decision. Some fully support me, saying it's about time I stood up for myself. Others worry that I'm stooping to my sister's level and that this could backfire spectacularly. Work has been another challenge. Although my sister and I are in different departments, I still see her occasionally. It takes every ounce of self-control not to confront her when I see her smiling and chatting with colleagues, as if she hasn't just destroyed my relationship and happiness. As I move forward with my plan, I'm hyper-aware of the potential consequences. If my sister finds out I'm the one who exposed her, I have no doubt she'll retaliate. I've started documenting all our interactions and keeping records of any communication, just in case. There's also the question of how this will affect our family dynamics. Our parents' health isn't the best, and I worry about the stress this might put on them. But then I remind myself that it's my sister's actions that are the real problem here, not my response to them. I've set a deadline for myself. In the next week, I plan to find a way to contact him and share what I know. I'm still working out the details, but I'm leaning towards sending an email from an anonymous account. I'll present the facts as I know them, including dates and locations of my sister's meetings with her massage therapist. Part of me hopes that once exposed, my sister will finally face the consequences of her actions, and maybe, just maybe, it will be the wake-up call she needs to change her behavior. But I'm not holding my breath. More likely, she'll find a way to spin this, paint herself as the victim, and me as the villain. If she figures out I'm behind it. Despite my determination, I still have moments of doubt. Am I doing the right thing? Will this actually solve anything, or just create more drama? But then I remember the look on my ex-boyfriend's face when he broke up with me, the years of snide comments and undermining, and I steel my resolve. I know this path won't be easy, and it probably won't give me the closure or satisfaction I'm hoping for. But I feel like I have to do something. I can't keep living in fear of my sister's next move, always waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'll post another update once I've gone through with my plan. Wish me luck, Reddit. I have a feeling I'm going to need it. Update 2. It's been 10 days since my last update, and a lot has happened. I want to thank everyone for their support and advice. Here's what's been going on. First, I managed to gather concrete evidence of my sister's affair. A friend of mine who works at a local hotel confirmed that my sister and her massage therapist have been regular guests, always booking a room for a few hours in the afternoon. My friend even provided me with dates and times of their visits over the past month. With this information in hand, I struggled with how to proceed. After much deliberation, I decided to reach out to my sister's boyfriend. I'll call him B for privacy reasons. I found his business email on his company's website and sent him an anonymous message detailing my sister's infidelity, including the dates and locations of her meetups with the massage therapist. I agonized over whether to reveal my identity in the email, but ultimately decided to keep it anonymous. I was worried that if B knew who I was, he might dismiss the information as family drama or sibling rivalry. 2 days after sending the email, I received a response from B. He thanked me for the information and said he would investigate the matter himself. I was relieved that he took it seriously, but also anxious about what would happen next. I didn't have to wait long to find out. Yesterday evening, I received a flurry of angry text messages from my sister. She was furious, accusing me of ruining her life and destroying her chance at happiness. Apparently, B had followed her and caught her red-handed with the massage therapist at the hotel. My sister's messages were a mix of rage and desperation. She wrote things like, "How could you do this to me? I'm your sister. And you've always been jealous of me, and now you've gone too far." She even threatened to tell our parents that I was making up lies about her out of spite. I was shaken by her reaction, but I stood my ground. I replied that I hadn't done anything wrong, I had simply exposed the truth. I told her that if she was upset about the consequences of her actions, she should reflect on her own behavior rather than blaming me. This only seemed to enrage her further. She called me, and I reluctantly answered. The conversation quickly devolved into a shouting match. She accused me of always trying to ruin her relationships out of jealousy, while I reminded her of all the times she had sabotaged my happiness, including what she did with my ex-boyfriend. During the call, she let slip that B had been planning to propose to her that very day. He had apparently bought a ring and made reservations at an expensive restaurant. Instead, he ended up confronting her about the affair and breaking things off. I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel a twinge of satisfaction at this news. But mostly, I felt sad that our relationship had deteriorated to this point, sad that she couldn't see how her actions hurt others, and sad that she seemed incapable of taking responsibility for her own mistakes. The call ended with my sister vowing to make me pay for what I'd done. She said I'd regret the day I decided to mess with her life. I'm not sure what she plans to do, but I'm bracing myself for retaliation. After the call, I felt drained and conflicted. On one hand, I felt relieved that the truth was out, and that B hadn't been trapped in a relationship with someone who was cheating on him. On the other hand, I was worried about the fallout within our family and at work. Speaking of work, I'm dreading going to the office tomorrow. Even though we're in different departments, I'm sure word of what happened will spread quickly. I'm preparing myself for awkward encounters and potential hostility from my sister's work friends. I haven't told our parents what happened yet. I'm torn between wanting to get ahead of whatever story my sister might tell them and hoping to avoid dragging them into this mess. Their health isn't great, and I worry about how this drama might affect them. My friends have been supportive, but I can tell some of them think I went too far. One friend gently suggested that I might have crossed a line by interfering in my sister's relationship, no matter how justified I felt. It's made me question my actions, even though I still believe I did the right thing overall. My therapist has been helpful in processing all of this. She's encouraged me to focus on setting boundaries with my sister going forward and to work on my own self-esteem issues, rather than getting caught up in comparisons or revenge. As for B, he sent me another email today. He thanked me again for letting him know about the affair and said he was grateful to have found out before making a serious commitment. He also mentioned that my sister had told him I was the one who sent the email, and he asked if that was true. I haven't responded yet. I'm not sure if I should confirm my identity or maintain the anonymity. Looking ahead, I'm not sure what's going to happen. My relationship with my sister feels irreparably damaged, but maybe that's for the best. I'm considering looking for a new job to put some distance between us, but I don't want to feel like I'm running away. I know this situation is far from resolved. My sister's threat of retaliation hangs over me, and I'm worried about how this will affect our extended family dynamics. But despite all the anxiety and uncertainty, I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. For the first time in a long time, I feel like I've stood up for myself. I'll update again if anything significant happens. Thank you all for your support and advice throughout this difficult situation. Update 3. It's been a week since my last update, and I've been on an emotional roller coaster. This will be my final update on the situation with my sister. Our parents found out about everything when my sister reached out to them with her version of events. This led to a family meeting last Sunday. When I arrived, my sister was already there, eyes red from crying, and our parents looked tired and disappointed. In the living room, we each explained our side. My sister painted herself as the victim of my jealousy, claiming I had sabotaged her happiness with her boyfriend. She conveniently left out her affair and past behavior. I tried to remain calm, explaining the years of emotional manipulation I had endured, the incident with my ex-boyfriend, and why I felt compelled to reveal the truth about her affair. Our father spoke first, expressing disappointment in both of us. He addressed my sister's selfish behavior and my retaliatory actions, emphasizing that neither was acceptable. Our mother added that as adults, it was time to let go of the past and start treating each other with respect. Their words hit hard. I realized that in my quest for justice, I had stooped to a level I wasn't proud of. Yes, my sister had wronged me, but my actions had also contributed to our toxic dynamic. Surprisingly, my sister broke down in tears. She admitted to her affair, her manipulation of her boyfriend, and confessed to sabotaging my relationship with my ex-boyfriend. She said she had been jealous of my success at work and my seemingly perfect relationship. It was the first time I had ever heard her take responsibility for her actions. Seeing her vulnerable stirred something in me. My anger and resentment began to soften, replaced by sadness and hope. I realized that her behavior likely stemmed from her own insecurities. Our parents suggested we both seek therapy, individually and possibly together. They made it clear that they loved us both and wanted us to heal our relationship, but it would take effort from both sides. After the family meeting, my sister and I had a private conversation. It was awkward at first, but as we talked, I saw a side of her I hadn't seen in years. She apologized for her past behavior, acknowledging the pain she had caused. She admitted feeling insecure about my intelligence and career success. I apologized for exposing her affair to B. While I still believe he deserved to know the truth, I acknowledged that my methods were hurtful and I should have approached the situation differently. We didn't resolve all our issues in that one conversation, but it felt like a start, a tiny seedling of reconciliation that might grow into something stronger with care and effort. Since then, I've done a lot of soul searching. I've realized that my own actions weren't always above reproach. My resentment had colored my perceptions, leading me to assume the worst of her intentions. I've also come to understand that comparing myself to my sister has only ever brought me unhappiness. We are different people with different strengths and weaknesses, and that's okay. My worth isn't determined by how I measure up to her, but by my own actions and character. At work, there have been some awkward moments, but most people have been understanding. A few colleagues even shared their own family conflict stories, reminding me that these struggles are common. Moving forward, my sister and I have agreed to maintain some distance while we work on ourselves. We're each seeing a therapist and have discussed the possibility of family therapy later. It's a slow process, but I'm cautiously optimistic. I've decided to focus more on my own growth and happiness. I'm considering classes to further my career and have started volunteering at a local animal shelter, something I've always wanted to do. To those in similar situations, I would say, it's okay to stand up for yourself and set boundaries, but be careful not to let resentment guide your actions. Seek help if needed, whether through therapy, trusted friends, or support groups. Remember that healing and reconciliation are often possible if both parties are willing to put in the effort. Thank you all for your support and advice throughout this journey. While my relationship with my sister is still a work in progress, I've gained valuable insights about myself and my family dynamics. I'm hopeful for the future, whatever it may bring.